Okay. Hi, Buggy.
Finally, my mic's properly.
Let's do this. Hello, I'd like to welcome everybody to the March 5th, 2026 meeting of the Newmarket School Board, which we will start, as always, with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, so the first item on our agenda tonight is public comment. If there are any members of the public who would like to comment on something on the agenda, please come to the microphone. And seeing none, we will close public comment at 5:16 p.m. Next up, public correspondence. Did any members of the board receive any correspondence from the public since we were last together? Yeah, I'll just quickly say I received an email from a parent about a student issue that I just acknowledged on behalf of the board. All right, let's move on into committee updates. Any committees meet in the past couple of weeks?
Yes, the Professional Development Committee met on Monday. While I was unable to attend, I did get the notes from Patty. They reviewed both schedules for elementary school and the junior senior high school, which had been finalized already, and finalized the paraeducator activity, as well as talking about something new that they were going to do with regarding developmental milestones for kids. And really, that's about it. I think everybody's really looking forward to a productive PD day. And I know I've said this every time I report on this committee, but again, the team just does a really wonderful job at tailoring the professional development for every single group within the school district. So
Thank you, Lonnie.
Yep.
Any other committee meetings? Board comments? Anyone?
Well, I'll introduce it and Todd can take it from there. Our Newmarket Spotlight for Fair Funding New Hampshire was just released, and it's, if you haven't read the story yet, we'll be having printouts, right?
It's in the agenda for
Oh, good.
later, so everybody
Good,
can see
good.
it. Yep.
And Ashley Wade did a great job, and it was a lot of fun going around the schools, as I said before. So other than that, that's about it. Things have been pretty, they haven't been quiet, but as far as anything like that, it's been pretty quiet. Thank you.
All right, I guess I just remind everyone who's watching that the second session of town meeting, voting day, is on Tuesday at Town Hall. Starts at 7 in the morning, ends at 7 in the evening. Come out and cast your vote.
I'll just piggyback off that because voting day will be Dan Smith's last day as a school board member after
3.5 years.
3.5 years. And he loves being in the spotlight almost as much as Gary. So we just have a little token of gratitude from the board that we wanted to give to you for your service to Newmarket School District and the
Is it taking?
the red wire.
Yeah,
Cut the red wire.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. And, you know, it's 3.5 years goes pretty fast in something like this. So it's been fun.
He was a little teary-eyed earlier last meeting.
Keep going on, keep going.
Anything more?
We're saving it for Gary. for next year.
Beautiful. Then we'll move on into student representative report. Sawyer, what do you have for us this week?
Thank you. So I don't have a ton for you this week, because last week was February vacation. But to start off with some sports with girls basketball. Yesterday they had a game against Littleton. It was the semifinals. And they won 43-35. I wasn't able to attend, but I heard that it was an incredible game from Dan. Um, and their next game is on Saturday against Groveton for the D4 finals at 1 p.m. at Colby Sawyer College. For boys basketball, unfortunately, they lost in the quarterfinal round against Portsmouth Christian, 46-41 in double overtime. So that was another really, really close game. Going off of sports, Newmarket Unplugged. So tomorrow, well, Saturday is Newmarket Unplugged, but tomorrow we are having an unplugged day at the high school. So we're not going to use any technology for any of our classes. So we'll see how that goes. National English Honor Society is hosting a blackout poetry and blind date book sorry, at the Beach Street Extension Rec Building, the elementary school, and the high school. So look out for that. And then there will also be games, puzzles, and crafts in the library. Um, there's a Model UN conference on Sunday at Bedford. And then sports awards night. Indoor track is Monday the 9th at 6:30. And then all the other sports is Tuesday the 10th at 6:30. And then lastly, there's another round of citizenship test taking going on next Wednesday, the 11th. Excuse me.
How do you feel about unplugged day?
Extra day.
I think it'll be fun. I'm sure it'll work out.
Alright.
So I thought I saw something that they moved the Tuesday high school sports awards to 6 p.m.
Did they? I didn't see that. Sorry.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
They
Thank
moved
you.
it to 6
Thank
p.m.
you.
It was because they had fewer groups since the track was doing the night before. Yep.
Thank you.
Much appreciated by those of us who have to be at town hall to count ballots after. So thank you for that. All right, superintendent report. Todd, what's shaking?
Well, I'm going to start by embarrassing you a little bit, Dan. I just wanted to thank you for
I
your.
mean, you kind of
I do it I do it all the time. That's right. Okay. But I'm going to do it specifically because this is your last meeting. I did want to just say how much I've appreciated, working with you. Certainly in the last year as the chair and working together. I do want to point out, we had our final agenda setting meeting and he was literally tap dancing out of the office on the way out. He said something like, "See you later, sucker," or whatever. So I don't know. I thought he was going to be more emotional. No, but I do appreciate working with you so closely to kind of plan these agendas. It's been a lot of fun. And I mean, it's getting down. I mean, you and Gary were the two original board members back when I was hired. So you're leaving just Gary. So everybody else is new since I've come on board. But I do really just want to tell you how much your commitment to Newmarket and all the work you do for the school district is much appreciated. So thank you.
Thank you.
Jumping into less enjoyable topics. I did want to take a couple of minutes. You might have seen a little bit in the news lately regarding Portsmouth School District is discussing whether to challenge the health assessment that they have received from school care. Obviously, we're very familiar with getting healthcare assessments because we got one as well. I did want to give you a little information on it. I actually was coincidentally at a meeting this morning with that the Portsmouth superintendent and the Portsmouth business administrator were sitting on opposite sides of me during the meeting. And while I am in that meeting, I'm receiving a text from Steve Fournier, who's at a meeting with the Portsmouth town manager, a city manager, discussing the same thing. Clearly, there is some concern in Portsmouth about whether they should have to pay the assessment or not. And they are talking about whether to challenge it legally. I will tell you, we have reviewed it with our legal counsel, and there really isn't a significant grounds for it. I'm going to be honest with you, I think it's more of an optical effort to show that they're fighting. But just to be clear, there are 90 entities that pay into school care. 88 of them have paid their assessment. or have made plans to pay the assessment. I did attach in my notes from my superintendent comments. There's a link there to an email that I got from Lisa Duquette, who's the executive director of school care, kind of talking about the financial health of school care. They're certainly way, way, way better off than they were last year when the assessment was given. I mean, the quick numbers are, when the assessment came out, they had a 2.4% negative in their reserves. They're up to 10.4%, which means they're much healthier. They anticipate getting up to 16% in the near future. They are completely solvent to be able to pay all of their claims for the remainder of the year. So while it is a little bit concerning to have two of the larger entities sort of challenging it, um, uh, school care is healthy, and they are functioning well. And you know, what Portsmouth and Dover does not necessarily impact us. Any questions on that? But I would encourage you to read the email, because I just figured rather than me trying to paraphrase it, I'd just give it to you.
So you said they're, excuse me, getting back up to, sorry, 16% reserves?
Basically, the guidelines that are now being enforced by the Secretary of State's office is 12 to 16 is the range that they want all reserve funds to be in. They anticipate being at 12 by the end of this fiscal year, with the goal of trying to get up to the higher end of the range.
Okay, so unless the Secretary of State takes another wild hair, they're not going to end up in a position like interlocals found themselves in.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
Okay.
I think New Hampshire interlocals reserves were significantly lower than that. They were down around 5%. All right. A second thing I wanted to mention to you, we've talked about this in the past. We do have an outstanding IRS claim that we've had going back to 2017. It's to remind people, the issue was not about paying our taxes. It was about some appropriate filing of some reports that the IRS required. It was at a time when the IRS was switching from a paper version to a digital platform, and we filed them by paper, and they wanted us to do it digitally. And we've been going back and forth with them about, wait a minute, you got them. No, you didn't. Yes, you did. So we did get some positive news this week that, and this may not sound like great positive news, but there's actually an IRS representative who is reviewing the case now. For the last 3 years, we've gotten every 3 months a letter telling us we need more time to review, we need more time. So finally, there's an actual human being reviewing the case. Our lawyers that have been working on it all along are confident that the appeal will be granted. But so hopefully before the end of this school year, I'll be able to report to you that this matter is resolved. So we're making progress.
So just to expand on that,
Yep.
so it's $110,000, I think, that they claim we owe, and we have all the paperwork to indicate what we paid,
Correct.
and it's just a matter of them acknowledging.
Well, basically what they claim we owe is, would be fees that they would charge us for what they claim was our failure to file the paperwork. But we have documentation showing that it was actually done, and they have received it. It's all certified mail. It's just getting someone to actually look at it and say, oh, actually, you did provide us that information. So I want to be clear, there was never a time when Newmarket wasn't 100% up to date on its taxes. That was never the case. It's a report filing to do with employment records. So yes, we're very confident that our claim is solid, and that we will win. We just, frankly, the IRS was decimated by the Office of Government Accountability, and they reduced the staffing dramatically, and they just haven't had the people to do anything for the last year or so. They finally have someone on the case. So hopefully good news will come from that. Moving on from that, I did want to just give you, usually the second meeting in March, I come to you with a recommendation for what the last day of school will be. So obviously, depending on how many snow days we have, that has an impact on it. Sawyer's smiling because he doesn't care, because graduation has already been set. He's like, good. And the more snow days, the fewer days I have to go. I hear. I'm with you, Sawyer. I understand. But I just wanted to give you that heads up. Right now, we've had 2 snow days and four delayed starts. So I'm basically assuming no changes in the calendar. School would end on Tuesday, June 16th. That would be the likely day. However, we probably need to give March a chance to happen before we get too far ahead of ourselves. But I just wanted to mention that. Um, one other thing I wanted to mention is Bryant, Dave, and I met with Lindsay Butler, the town engineer, Bill Tappan, and Steve Fournier to review the solar energy feasibility study that the town had done on all the different properties. Obviously, we've made no commitments, but we are continuing to have conversation about what the possibilities might be. And certainly there will be more conversation with the Energy Committee and the Conservation Committee around the possibility of the Carpenter property being a site for that, that the school district has expressed willingness to be involved in a collaborative conversation about it. I do want to emphasize again, no decisions have been made. And obviously later in the meeting, we'll talk a little bit more about the RFP for the athletic fields study, that obviously we need to resolve what our needs are there first before we can engage in any bigger conversation. But I did want to just acknowledge it's been a very positive collaborative conversation with the town, which I know particularly coming out of the charter commission's work, wanting to see more of that. And I think this is a good example of the kind of thing that can happen.
They're still working on scheduling that joint meeting.
Yeah, yes, we're working on it. We're working on it. I did want to just share some, I often when I come in here, I tell you bad news from Concord, but I do have some good news from Concord for a change. On Tuesday, March 3rd, Sawyer became legal. What that means is, the law was changed about the video audio recording. You may recall, sir, we had to get permission for you to be able to be videotaped and be on the original intent of the law was not to make public meetings something that required parental permission, but the interpretation of the Department of Ed made it so that theoretically any student under the age of 18 who was on video, whether it was at a basketball game, a school board meeting, a drama production or whatever, required specific parental consent to participate in it. And there were some school districts just, who were literally standing at the doors of basketball games, handing out permission slips to parents as they came in with their kids to just make sure that they got that. I chose not to do that just because I knew cooler heads would eventually prevail. But
Bold of you. Bold of you to assume that.
But the governor signed into law the provision, what everybody had anticipated. So basically it's all of these public events are not included in that legislation. So yes, we still, if we're using it for assessment purposes in the classroom, that kind of thing, there still needs to be permission, but public events are no longer included in that. So congratulations, Sawyer, you're now officially legally able to be here. One other thing I did want to mention that there has been a lot in Concord, a number of bills, a number of bills that have talked about curriculum related topics, some bills that would require, like, for example, pro-life videos to be shown in the classroom, things of that sort. Most of those bills have been ruled inexpedient to legislate in this session, meaning they are going away for at least this session. So while there's a number of what I might call concerning legislation that might come back in the future, it's looking like many of those things are not going to happen because they just don't appear to be as what they call expedient to legislate. So that's good news. So we're not going to be dealing with hopefully a lot of wild changes in curriculum requirements. The one other thing that I think is in the category of the positive is there does appear to be some momentum building to at least pump the brakes on open enrollment. There's in the Senate, there's a SB 101. They're trying to create a Senate committee that would do a study. And I'm told, I don't do a lot between the two legislative branches, but the Senate is the far more rational branch of the government. So hoping if they take it on, it might lead to a more careful, measured approach. So, but in the short term, it probably means it's not like we're going to have to face on July 1st, 2026, open enrollment is happening. It looks like that's not going to happen. I can't promise you that. So please know that one of the things that has become characteristic of this legislature is to attach non-germane, irrelevant things to bills to make them happen. And that's part of what has made it difficult to track. But at least right now, it appears that that's a good thing. The one concerning thing I'm hearing is there is more momentum for tax cap legislation, which we need to keep our eyes on because that could potentially impact us.
I think they had some votes this afternoon.
Yeah. So, and then the last thing I wanted to mention is just a reminder, with the upcoming production of Shrek in April, they will be needing this space for rehearsals. So our next 2 board meetings, thank you, Tim, for moving the meetings into the library. And Hillary, thank you. We'll be having our meetings in the library. So the March 19th and April 2nd meeting, it's a long walk, but just right over there, next door. So that's where our meetings will be. And Shrek will be rehearsing in here. So if you want to take a minute to watch rehearsal for a few minutes before the meeting, knock yourself out. So that's all I have.
All right, thank you. Moving into our discussion and presentation section, I believe Andy's here to tell us about the long-awaited program of studies for next year's incoming freshman class.
Evening.
Eagerly awaited.
Eagerly awaited, I suppose. I'm not going to even bother to try to embarrass you. So, congratulations on your term.
That makes one of you.
What you have here. So, if you remember, about a month and a half ago, I came with a pretty heavy packet for our current 9, 10, and 11th graders for course offerings. We put that into practice. As of the Friday before break, counseling had met with every single 9th, 10th, and 11th grader. They've completed course selection. We are now at the point where we're transitioning to our 8th grade friends, soon to be freshmen. As you recall, there's some changes in legislation around course offerings and course requirements specifically for this incoming group. Those are changes that we had to account for in some of our programming. Just a quick reminder, there's an additional half credit of what's called data analysis or statistics. We're embedding that in a successful completion of your freshman physical science and your sophomore biology course. Half a credit of what's known as logic and rhetoric. We're embedding that into our English 9 and English 10 courses. There's a half credit for the infamous at this point or famous citizenship exam that we are administering all the time. And there's a half credit in digital literacy. We're embedding that into a course we run currently called Freshman Seminar. We're doing it through the course, some of the freshman courses, as well as a portfolio to demonstrate skills. We actually have some folks using the portfolio right now to pick up their digital literacy skill, or excuse me, their credit, and it's going quite well. Catherine Smith, one of our freshman teachers, has put a lot of time and effort into identifying those competencies and designing some programs around how kids can demonstrate those. So what you have is our first attempt, rather than going with that old school packet, we do a different view for our 8th graders coming up. They have those new changes. We have an 8th grade night next Wednesday where we go over kind of the overview of the process, but we wanted to go with a slideshow format because a lot of feedback we got was, it's the first time looking at the book. I really don't know what this is. So we tried to combine a few things into a slideshow format versus just words. So what you have there is kind of the intro to high school, some of the big picture things, and then we do get into the course descriptions. The courses in the slideshow are courses only offered to freshmen. So things like AP Calc is not in this program of studies because it's not offered. We wanted to streamline this, not confuse people, get them right to the point. Also, one of the big pieces from the principal and central office perspective, the conversations around the 306s is when and if a kid moves a district. You either lose a kid or you get a kid. You want to be able to ensure the kid is getting the necessary requirements attached to 306s. So if we have a kid that shows up from Dover, and where do I go to double check of how Dover is awarding their data analysis credit? The conversations across both principal level, the assistant superintendent curriculum level, and even more importantly, your counseling directors across the state are to embed that information directly into your program of studies. So in the course descriptions across the state, you're going to see blah, 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 blah. This course meets the 306 requirement of data analysis, or this partially meets it. And the reason for that is when and if a kid transfers, the first thing we're going to do is go to that descending school's program of studies and read and go, how is this kid earning this credit, to make sure we don't end up with a situation where we shortchange a child or find an opportunity to align them. It was on my board for a very long time, but the phrase was the POS, the program of studies, is the Bible. And that's what we're going to be using in the event we have kids moving in and out. And that's been a kind of a regional understanding. So you have the slideshow there. It's again a kind of new version of the old handbook approach. Additionally, in the moment when counselors are meeting with kids, we streamline this down to a one-page form where we just highlight, here are the courses that are available to you, here are the options you have. A lot of the freshman experience is a bit prescriptive. Some of that's on purpose. Every kid takes English 9, every kid takes a global studies course, every kid takes a physical science course. We integrate health and wellness, PE, and freshman seminar into their course offerings. So that fills up most of their day. But what counselors do is they'll sit down and go, okay, we have a little flexibility. Here are some of the options going back to the program of studies. How would you like to fill the rest of your day, unique to the needs that you have and your passions? So, and that is queued up, ready to go. We will do the parents and we invite the students next Wednesday night in this space to go over the big picture. And the counselors are going to be going into the 8th grade science classes on Thursday and Friday to begin to get those numbers in to find out what we need. So that is the big picture on the freshman program of studies and kind of how we do freshman course selection for our 8th graders.
Questions?
I just have a curiosity question.
Yep.
Putting where students meet those new requirements in the program of studies, is
Yep.
was that required, or is that something that all New Hampshire?
No, it's not. It's not in legislation. It was a lot of smart people in rooms together going, how are we going to ensure we, and honestly, everybody was on this is weird and crazy. We're going to come up with our best approach and we don't want to shortchange a kid. So the least common denominator is everybody at every school, regardless, has a program of studies. So it became that POS is the Bible. POS and really the counseling directors were all over this as their method. Because we get a new kid, the first thing that happens is one of our counselors calls their former counselor and goes, hey, tell me about him. What's going on? What do I need? And it just became a natural process. So it wasn't required, but I think it was a really good solution to a complex problem.
Not a question, but I'm just going to confess how many these slides I slipped through trying to recognize a kid in these pictures before I realized they were stock photos.
Some of them are stock.
I don't know any of these kids.
We do have someone to try to get this out to you guys. We do have real photos that we've been adding in from some of our performing arts department has Mr. Fitzpatrick has a stock photos.
I saw one that would be
We'll get to
get specific,
Okay.
but the rest I was like trying to do the same thing.
Sorry.
I felt like I knew people here. What was this? Any other questions for Andy? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Andy.
Okay, next on the agenda, we're doing the second read of 3 policies that the policy committee brought to you last meeting. JICL R1, which is the new responsible use of technology policy for students. Sorry, not the policy. These are the procedural documents, the addenda. GBEF R1, responsible use of technology for employees, and IHBI, alternative learning plans, which is something that we put in place more or less to stay aligned with the 306s and the state law on alternative learning plans. So any questions or discussion? We went through them at our last meeting, so unless anybody's had any epiphanies since then, we'll move along. Next on the agenda, Todd will walk us through the New Hampshire Fair Funding article that was built around the Newmarket School District.
Yeah, so the article is right there as a link in your packet. As Kathy pointed out, if you go to the New Hampshire Fair Funding Project website, it's the top story right now on their website. Obviously it's on our website, so the community can see it. I know Kathy, you went around with a bunch of copies of it and put them out for community members to see. It really is, in my mind, first of all, I just want to acknowledge what a fantastic writer Ashley Wade is. In fact, I gave her a plug at my superintendent's meeting this morning and handed them the website. Because she really took what, Kathy and I talked at her for 2.5 hours, and then a week later, she sends us this article. Oh my goodness, you really captured us so beautifully. So if you haven't had a chance to read the article, it dives deep into the community commitment to the school system, and I mean certainly it's a fair funding project article, so certainly it's highlighting the struggles that we face, but part of it is our commitment 7 years ago to investing in our schools. That is an investment that we live with, and we've talked about in 2046. We're paying on the bond, but it just shows, and it's an example of this community saying, no, schools are important, our kids are important, education is important, and committing to it. So anyway, I think it's just a lovely article, and there's a short vignette in there, which is a tribute to Nancy Miller, which I thought was really lovely. For those of you who don't know, Nancy Miller is our longtime PE teacher at the elementary school who is retiring this year. And it was just, it was such a special moment when we were walking through the elementary school and just stumbled upon Nancy Miller, who'd just come in off the field, having done snowshoeing with the kids. And she just like is completely energized and talking about it was just so anyway. You haven't had a chance to read the article, I encourage you to do so. But I don't know, Kathy, if you want to add anything.
Just one comment that I received was they really liked the opening of it, focusing on community. And I would say that every place we went unscripted, that was the first thing that everybody mentioned was community, community, community. And Ashley caught that very well right off the bat. And then the rest of it, I mean, she really just captured the whole 2.5 hours. And I went home exhausted after that, but it was great. But I did leave some pamphlets up at the library, the town hall, along with the voting pamphlet, and then the high school and the middle school and crack skull. So there would be various copies there. Anybody wants to pick them up.
And if anybody wants any copies, I did bring, we'll talk about it in a minute, but copies of the budget trifold flyer. And if people want copies of the article, happy to print them and give them to you.
And I'm wondering if each of the schools could print out the articles to send home. Like, I don't know if they still send home paper copies anymore.
Tomorrow, I'm going to push out a communication to communities about budget stuff, and I'm going to link a number of things to it, and I'm going to include a link to the
Okay.
article for everybody to see.
Yeah, okay. It's very much worth our publication.
What's that? No, go ahead. No, let's hit people many times. If they see it twice, they'll say, wow, that's important.
Takes
Yeah.
3 times, so let's see, make sure you do it twice.
Yeah, and then probably just some important context. I know we've talked about this at past meetings, but just in case there are people watching tonight who didn't see those, New Hampshire Fair Funding Project is an advocacy organization that is essentially, attempting to convince our state government, the legislature and the executive branch to make the funding of public schools more fair and less dependent on local property taxes in the state. It's nothing new. People have been trying this for a long time. This is just a more organized version of it, I think, than I've seen in the past. And they're doing a lot of advocacy work to try to highlight the challenges that communities face because of the way New Hampshire funds education, largely through local taxes.
And I do think this particular effort they want to do it in the form of storytelling. And that's why it's such a nice article, because it's really a story about Newmarket, but that links to other issues. And I think that's what they're trying to do, is to just start telling nice stories about school communities that are committed to their schools. And I think Newmarket is very committed to their school community.
And they also go to different communities to try to educate the community on the actual funding. present funding and the issues surrounding that, as well as how to think differently, if that's possible, in with the granite heads that we have around this state.
All right, next up, Todd's team has put together a trifold that is available and, you know, we've been handing out explaining the budget as well as a quick reference guide that I think is out on the district's website if people want to understand how the budget is put together, what the major pieces of it are. Any other context, Todd?
I did ask, and again, thank you to Tim. He's been helping kind of, I asked him to push out the video that we have on the budget was pushed out again on social media earlier this week, as well as a link to our website that has all the budget documents that people in the community can go to. The last thing I want is for someone to say they didn't have the opportunity to know what it was that they were voting on. And there are a good 7 or 8 documents there that ranging from a 36-page narrative about how we develop the budget to, as Dan pointed out, the quick reference guide that's just like, give it to me quick and easy. But they're all there, and I would encourage people who are interested to check it out. And so again, tomorrow, I will be pushing out a communication to the community, reminding people of all of that again, in hopes that people will take a look at it, because as you pointed out, next Tuesday is the election day.
It occurs to me, we probably never ever make this clear. When we look off camera and say, hey, Tim, we're actually talking to Channel 8's media manager, Tim, and also Hillary from Channel 8 to televise our meetings. They're in the sound booth in the back of the cafetorium where you can't see them on camera, but they do some tremendous work to make sure that our meetings come across clearly and everybody can enjoy them. So we're not all collectively hallucinating. There is actually a person named Tim when we point like this.
That's right.
He's up there in the booth.
Get to meet Tim.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Next on our agenda, we'll talk about the proposed RFP and classroom modifications.
Yeah, we shared this with you last meeting, but I wanted to kind of bring it back again because we're ready to go with the RFP for the field project. A couple of things I just wanted to remind you of. Both of these items that we're proposing are eligible to be paid for using our impact fee money, because they're both about potential expansion of program and or facilities. So the athletic field RFP and anything that involves the analysis and study of it, a project to expand, is eligible for impact fee money. And any remodeling or adjustments to facilities to expand a program or increase offerings is eligible for impact fee money. I wanted to just re-highlight for you that these are both things that we're working to go forward on. The shop classroom modifications is not something that's going to happen tomorrow. This is something for the summer. So we'll be talking about it more as we have more concrete designs, but I just wanted to float the idea to you. The athletic fields RFP, though, we do need to get it out. As I mentioned, Dave Bryant and I met with Lindsay and the town officials. And really the next step for everybody is to get this analysis done so we can sit down and say, what are the options? What's possible? So I don't need approval necessarily tonight, but I wanted to bring it up one more time and just to make sure that people understood that that was our intention. And I would like to go forward with that RFP.
And just to be completely clear for everyone watching, you know, we are not issuing an RFP to build a track and an athletic field. It's just been a long understood issue in the district. If you saw the meeting 2 weeks ago, you saw our athletic director, Jamie Hayes, who spoke at length about some of the challenges we have with athletic programming in the existing fields. They constrain everything quite a bit. They tend to get very muddy near the end of the season. So this dovetails with the situation Todd talked about earlier, the town being interested in developing a solar project and viewing the Carpenter property across the street from the high school as probably the most desirable location to do that. again, we're not committing to build a field. What we're committing to do is to bring in a civil engineering firm to look at that area, see how suitable it is, and just understand what the school district might want to do with that area so that we don't paint ourselves into a corner by ending up with the whole thing covered with solar panels, or the solar panels arranged in such a way that they don't leave enough room for a field we might want to put in the future. It's just about keeping our options open. We're not building the Todd Allen Memorial Stadium Part Two at this point.
Because I'm not dead.
Gotcha.
Anyway, but thank you for that Yeah, it is important to keep in mind that the RFP is to do the study to figure out what would be required to be able to give us the spec, what space we would need, and to give us an approximate cost so we can begin to talk about it in a planning way. I also would point out that the RFP is only step one. We will put it out. Hopefully, we'll get multiple proposals. We will then review them, and we'll come to you to share with you, here's the proposal we're recommending. So you will get a chance to weigh in as to whether you want to go forward with the study after we've got the information. But it's going to take probably a month or so to get proposals, and then it's probably 3 months or more for them to actually do the study and get back to us. So we're hoping that if everything goes well by July, August, we can at least have concrete information to sit down with the town again and say, okay, what's going to be possible?
All right, thank you. Next up, the school board self-reflection status. We may just want to kick that one to the next meeting because I don't know if we have anything specific to discuss this evening.
Yeah, the only comment I would have on it is I had sent something interesting to Dan that there's someone in town running for a different office who put, themselves out there saying, you know, I can't remember exactly what the events were, but something along the lines of like coffee with a candidate here at this on this day at this time, and a few events happening to kind of get to know some community members. And so my first thought in seeing that was that might be something to talk about when we look at creating our goals, or adjusting our goals for the next cycle. So that was really the only thing that came to mind regarding our reflection.
Okay, thank you. Next up, superintendent evaluation, and I apologize, this is my fault, but there was a miscommunication. So that last turn of the document that I sent around to all of you didn't end up in the board packet this week. That said, I didn't really hear anybody express any desire for additional edits beyond what we had. So if everybody is on board with that, we can, not you can put it on the agenda for next week and vote.
Whoever the chair is.
Whomever, yes. So a kind of last opportunity, I guess, if there's anything anybody would like added or changed.
I mean, I'd be comfortable voting on it today. I don't think there's any of us had any concerns with it. There's some minor changes you made that.
Yeah, I mean, with the board's consent, we can add it as action item 5. If
And for the record, I've seen it and I'm okay with it as well.
I can't write on this.
Yeah, you're not.
Sorry, do your teachers ask if you're okay with the grades they give you?
So when people think things are happening around me.
Okay, well, again, in that case, with the, since everybody seems amenable, we'll vote on that tonight. Todd, you want to walk us through the upcoming school events?
Yeah, there's quite a bit going on. We have the weather allowing, we have a tech-free day for the schools tomorrow, but both elementary and middle are, it's twofold. One is to tie into the unplugged event that's on Saturday, but it's also an opportunity to practice for cybersecurity reasons of like how to be ready in the event you don't have technology. So it's a good event. So the 6th is this tech-free day for the schools. Unplugged tech-free day in the community is March 7th. And I think Sawyer already told you about some of the great events happening there. The 10th, we have a professional development day because it's also the day of the election. And so voting is taking place from 7 to 7 at the town hall. So both of those things are happening on March 10th, and also on, and actually, I didn't know about the track one being on Monday night, but the rest of the athletic awards are the 10th as well, in the evening, 6 o'clock. Dan is going to be able to do both. That's good. There's a PTA. Wow, there's a lot on the 10th. There's a PTA meeting at 6:30 on the 10th, and the 8th grade parent night, which Andy just talked about, is on the 11th. And the SALT event, the Kids Night Out, is March 13th, which is next Friday.
Yeah,
Salt event was canceled because there wasn't a lot of interest.
Oh.
Unfortunately, that is not happening anymore.
Okay, well, I'm glad you were here to be able to correct that. So there is no SALT.
Does
event on
somebody
Friday
else
the
want to
13th.
It's cool. I swear. Are you free? Look, they didn't even bat an eye.
Bonnie's just on a mission to embarrass everyone today. Everybody duck. All right. So moving, we don't have any donations to acknowledge this week, so we will move on into action items. I would look for a motion to approve the minutes from our February 19th meeting.
Also move.
Thank you, Kathy. Do I have a second? Thank you, Lonnie. Did anybody see anything in the minutes that was at odds with their recollection? No. No. Good job, Ellen. Thank you. All those in favor? Aye.
One
We're-
abstention.
One abstention. That's right. Jeff was unable to be here last time, so we're 4-0 with one abstention. Who has the manifest? Speaking of getting embarrassed,
I've come a long way.
you have.
I am moved to approve the manifest for March 5th, 2026 in the amount of $1,251,743.04.
Well done, Lonnie. Second from Gary. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are unanimous 5-0. I would accept a motion to approve the new policies JICL R1, GBEF R1, and IHBI as presented on the second read tonight.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Jeff. Do I have a second? Thank you, Kathy. Any comments, questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are unanimous 5-0. We have a request for unpaid time off from a staff member. Todd, anything we should know about that?
It's required in the current para contract, and until it goes away, I have to bring these to you. After the new contract goes into effect, it's no longer required. But yeah, it's a request that is manageable, and so I would just say we can handle it. So if you want to approve it, I would appreciate it.
All right, I'd accept a motion to approve this request by a staff member for unpaid time off.
So moved.
Thank you, Gary. Do I have a?
Seconded.
Thank you, Jeff, for the second. All those in favor?
Aye.
We are unanimous 5-0. The next meeting of the Newmarket School Board, which I might even attend, is on March the 19th.
Before we do that, do we want to add in our,
Oh, good,
act-
very good point. Thank you, Jeff.
Yep.
I would accept a motion for the board to approve the superintendent's, gee, we almost missed that.
Yeah.
To approve the superintendent's evaluation that we have circulated and all read and will get formally put into the board packet for next week.
I'll go ahead and make that motion since I brought it up.
Thank you, Jeff.
Second.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Kathy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are unanimous 5-0. And yeah, as I was saying, the next board meeting is on March the 19th. Thank you, everybody. It's been fun. It's been a pleasure to serve with all of you, as well as Andrew, Phil, and Amy, who, were formerly on the board when I was here. So, it's pretty rewarding. Anybody who's thinking about running for it in the future absolutely should. And with that, I'll accept the
See how much
motion.
fun we have? too?
Sure, Todd, we can't get a non-meeting, non-public meeting, anything we can discuss for a couple.
I could
hours?
probably come up with something long and painful if that helps.
You could.
I need to read
Just
you
a
the
2-3
dictionary
hour.
because I think
Yes.
it's important.
Did I look at
No,
that?
dictionaries can only be read in public meeting. Come on, you know the rules.
You're coming back on the 19th?
Maybe.
Public comments, get another gift. But
Okay. I would accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, Lonnie.
Seconded.
Thank you, Jeff. All those in favor? Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you.